Hi everybody, Christopher Naiman back for another tip. A lot of people ask me, how do you sew this curve around here? Well, on a bodice. Well, let me show you. You've got a straight line here in the center, and you have this curved line here. How are you going to match all this up so it fits? Stay with me, I'll show you, don't go away, I'll be right back. Okay everybody, welcome back. Well, the first thing I want you to notice on my machine is I have a seam guide. This is very important to help you keep this straight when you're sewing. This seam guide is set at 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to keep, this is the bodice part, the center, and this is straight. If you notice here, this is straight. So we're going to keep that straight right along there. Here is the curved part. We're going to sew the curved part on top. So here's the first thing that I do. I'm going to match this at the top here. I'm going to start in about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to back stitch and then come forward and stop. Now, if you notice, here's what we do next. I'm going to hold this in my hand like this, but I'm not pulling on it. I'm just going to guide it gently because this is on a bias. Down here, I'm going to be hanging onto this like they do in industrial sewing. The way they teach you is to hold like that when you sew. And I'm just going to guide this top in. This is how I sew. And this is going to stay straight here because here's your seam allowance. This never has to go this way or that way. This stays straight when it sews. This is what you're controlling right here. Okay, so here we go. There it is, it's sewn. And then what you'll do is you'll clip here, you'll do clipping around the curve, then you iron it open, and then you have the curve sewn. And as you can see, the top is even and the bottom is even. And here you go. So once you clip that in the curve and you press it open, you've got your bodice sewn. Isn't that easy? Now practice. Practice doing these on scraps of fabric. Everything that's new to you, practice. Now let me explain to you about clipping. What I like to do, what I like to do is I like to clip into it, and you clip up to the stitching line. Up to the stitching line. Probably about maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch apart. Right up to the stitching line. And don't be afraid to get right up to that stitching line. If you have to get these scissors are great. You get these online on eBay. These are snips. These snips are great to use. So you can go right there and get real close, right up to that stitching line. If you don't get it up to the stitching line, you'll have a bubble when you open it up. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a ham. Let me back this up for you. Now you're going to get a pressing ham. And you get your iron ready. Let me back this up some more for you. Okay, that's all the way for you. Alright, so you're going to get this all separated now. Use steam. I'm going to move this down here some more. Let's go to this side. Okay, you're going to separate this. Make sure you push that down all the way. Now I'm doing this on duck cloth to teach, just for a sample. But one thing you want to do is you want to make sure you beef up your fabric. Use interfacing. Okay. Now, make sure you're pulling that down. And let's turn it around now. There it is. See how pretty? See how nice that is? And now it's all done for you. Now here's the deal. Later on, you can go in and you can trim up some of this excess later on if you wanted to. But there is your, there's the curve. Okay, so here's your bonus tip for this video tip. This is a bodice that I just sewed, and look how beautiful it's standing up on its own. Look at that. I haven't even clipped the curves yet, and there's no boning in here. Why is that standing up so beautifully? Well, you use a heavier weight interfacing. This interfacing I have on this fabric is 911FF by Pellon. My friends at Pellon make wonderful interfacing. And this is what's in here right now. See, I haven't even clipped the curves yet. And look how beautiful this bodice is standing up on its own. That's going to make beautiful, beautiful support. And then when I put the boning in, and then when I put the backing on, it's really going to have beautiful support. You never stop learning when you're sewing, and you always discover new things. Always, always. You see that? Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy sewing, everybody. Use those sewing machines. Don't let them just sit there. And remember, if a kid, a 10-year-old in Bangladesh can make the clothes that you buy off the rack to wear, and you own a sewing machine, shame on you. Get that machine out and make your own garments. Because God knows we should not support slave labor. Okay, love you all. Bye.